रेकॉर्डिंग करे दरकार नहीं. You are live. Okay.
लिंक टा शेयर कर दे सिनर्जी ढेंकानाल रे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप
नहीं एबे कला माने के पिलाउ जॉइन करिवे
पिलांगो नहीं सर सिनर्जी ढेंकानाल जोटा हमरो ये ग्रुप टा फैकल्टी ग्रुप टा
Hello, sir. Is it me or what?
Yes, Pallav, you can now check.
Yeah, I'll share now. Now it will work, I believe. I'm sharing my screen because this is my own computer, so I have a lot more confidence on it. Able to see, right?
Yes. Now it is coming. Your screen is coming, right?
Fine. Excellent.
Normally, you will have lesser confidence on your wife's computer. I should have joined earlier on this only. Okay.
That's the universal truth, I guess.
Yes, sir. I'll just open the slides so that I will be ready before.
I guess you have added the last two slides based upon your suggestions. What you were telling me the last time.
I have enough content, sir, for that. And I'm pretty sure nobody will be bored when I talk about it.
Fine. Now the suggestions that you were telling about the coding, etc., data structure and algorithm.
Sure. I haven't added it, but I am pretty sure people will enjoy because I understand what I have to show them. I have the content ready with me.
Okay.
For data structure algorithm also.
Fine.
ମୋ ସିଲ୍ ଟା ଦେଇ ଦବ
I have. Right, yeah, this I showed. Now what is required from me, microservices, work on this, my introduction. I think we are good, sir. I already had my introduction given. I had my microservices slide ready. So we are good. We will wait, sir, for some time anyway because it is only 11:30. So should I join at 12 now?
It's up to you actually. I guess you can join before 5 minutes if you want to, or you can stay also if you want. But we'll start at sharp 12.
Okay, sir. So then I'll join 5 minutes back. Okay.
Fine.
I'll just go and grab some other things. I just wanted to check because Cisco WebEx. I just want to see that everything is working with Cisco WebEx.
Fine. No issue.
Thanks, sir. And it is so good to see you, sir. When I see actually all of you, I mean, I start feeling a bit nostalgic.
Ready?
I guess you will see more people also in the due course of time. I think you had joined the previous year alumni meet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I missed. I joined that.
Yeah.
So, if possible, whenever I'll plan to come to Odisha also to see you all guys.
Fine,
Actually.
fine. That would be nice. Actually, we can have a physical sort of seminar, if possible, at that time.
Yeah, why not? We can actually create even 2 days seminar where we can do a live coding within with all of us, and then
Yeah.
it will
That would be
be
nice.
really great. Okay, sir. Then I'll join in sometime. Okay.
Okay, fine. No issue.
sir. Pallav here.
Pallav, will you wait for, I think, 3 minutes more? Start at
Yeah,
sharp
sure.
12.
Sure, sir.
Lift to the top.
Smriti sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible actually.
Okay, so there
Yes,
is a lot of echo coming from Smriti sir's mic, I think.
Unfortunately, I'm using my mobile device only, so there should not be. I'm
Okay.
mute currently, so there should not be any disturbance.
No, your mic is currently working fine, but previously it was making some noise. Okay. Okay, sir. Now it is fine.
Fine, fine, fine.
Smriti sir, principal mom is joining, so she will join within 1 or 2 minutes. Okay.
We will wait
So,
1 or 2 minutes more, I think. We'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes more.
And I have also communicated to our students. So all the mentors present here, please requested, please instruct your mentee to join the webinar immediately.
No, already
So
they have
all
been
the mentors,
communicated,
please,
maybe because there was some exam today, maybe they'll take some time to join. I have already communicated them regarding this. So probably they will take 1 or 2 minutes more to join. So we'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes more at the max, then we'll start. Now, sir, can we start now or shall we wait? Avinash sir, are you there?
Yes, yes, Moti sir, I'm here.
Shall we start or shall we wait for 1 or 2 minutes?
Just I'm calling you over.
Fine. Avinash sir, I think we should start now.
Yes, yes, please, please.
Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to this alumni talk with the speaker being one of our illustrious alumni, Kumar Pallav, from the batch 2005 to 2009 from the CSE department. Uh, uh, at the beginning, I must thank Kumar Pallav to give his valuable time to us, to share his experiences, to share his knowledge with the students. I hope the students would gain a lot at the end of this particular talk. Uh, uh, Before I can introduce Kumar Pallav, I'll first request HOD Department of Computer Science, Professor S. Avinash, to kindly deliver his welcome address. Sir.
Okay, thank you, Smriti sir. Good afternoon, all of you. Respected Chairman and Managing Trustee Sri Vinod Das, Principal Ma'am Dr. Itisri Mohanty, Director Dr. P.K. Nayak, Heads of the departments, staff, and faculty members, Mr. Pallav, our esteemed guest of this hour, and my dear students. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone attending today's webinar on cloud computing and microservices. It gives me great pleasure and fills me with a sense of pride to extend a warm welcome to the speaker, who is former student of ours and a graduate of the CSE department during the year 2005 to 2009. Mr. Pallav is now serving as Vice President Morgan and Stanley, an investment banking firm. It fills me with a sense of immense pride to having you here with us today, Pallav. The topic is the topic of his presentation today is going to be cloud computing and microservices. I will try to keep this brief as I have high hopes that our students will walk away from this session with a better understanding of the role of microservices play in cloud computing. I would like to extend to each of you my warmest welcome to this webinar. I hope that everything works fine for you. I'm grateful to you all. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now to formally introduce our speaker, as I've already mentioned, Pallav, or should I be calling him Kumar Pallav, has a experience of more than 12 years in the IT industry. As already mentioned by Avinash sir, that he is currently working as the Vice President in Morgan Stanley in Operation Technology Division at Bangalore. His previous experiences include at Wipro, Thomson Reuters, Standard Chartered. And the things that what I would appreciate here, that the audience would also appreciate here in this case would be that Pallav has made it a point to actually make him available at any request that we make regarding any knowledge sharing or any other things that we require from time to time. So I'm overwhelmed Pallav, with your response, and we'll have this same sort of communication going in the future also, as we have been discussing something that you would have planned for some students in the near future, maybe some sort of physical mode of meeting as such in due course of time. So with that, I would request Kumar Pallav to start his presentation. And before he starts his presentation, I would request all the audiences to ensure that they are muted during the entire meeting. And at the end, I think we can take some questions. If you are happy, Kumar, Pallav, then we will have some questions through chat if they want to. If they want to physically want to interact with, they can unmute and ask them questions or any doubts they have at the end. That would be fine, I think,
Sure.
Kumar, Pallav. Okay, so we you can start now.
So hi everyone. At first, I would like to thank the Department of Computer Science to having me here, and I'm extremely proud student of Synergy actually. And I always make it a point that I mean, once you actually grow in life, you need to give it back. So Synergy has actually given me a lot. So, I mean, it is very easy to say that you passed from the college and this is your college. But once you actually look back in life, you will understand those lives and those experiences from colleges has helped you a lot, not only in becoming a better technocrat, but also in becoming a better human being. I would like to thank Smriti sir, Avinash sir, Chairman sir, Vinod sir actually, and everyone who is present here. And let me introduce myself also once. So I am Pallav. I have around 12 plus year of experience in IT industry. I graduated in 2009 and I have been working in this industry from 2010 actually. So 2008 and 9, if you remember, it was actually, there was a Lehman Brothers Bank which fell down. I got placed from the campus only. It was L&T Infotech, but then I mean, as the things were actually those days, it was not so great and there was economic slowdown. So I moved to Bangalore. I found another job, and from then I have been working at different firms. So thanks everyone for joining. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Let me know if you see my screen. So, sir, my screen is visible, right? My screen is visible, sir. Hello.
Yeah. Pallav,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So as I have already been said by our, I mean, you already know. So I have 12 years of experience. This is a little old slide from my previous talks actually. So if you want to follow me, you can actually go on Twitter. I am quite active on Twitter. Avinash sir is also very active on Twitter, and I have seen him there a lot of time. And you can actually even mail me at my email addresses. So you can actually follow me at Kumar_Pallav. You can go to LinkedIn and you can actually send me a request. I'll be very glad to accept anybody from the meeting. And if it is possible, I would also like to give references whenever I find. So now let's talk about the microservices thing. So before I go, I'll let you know what we are covering today. We are only covering why microservices came into existence and what are the importance that it actually caters and why it is such a buzzword in this industry. Okay, so and then after the microservices session, I would like to tell you few more tips which will make you a lot more employable in the current industry. So as far as I understand, anybody who is in college, the first aim is to get a better placement. So, so this talk is focusing on microservices, but at the end, I will let you know few easy tips which will help you actually to have a lot more confidence once you face interviews. And not only in any firm in India, but in any multinational firm also. Okay, so let's start with microservices first. So let's know what microservices is. So if you see, I mean, I'm pretty sure you all would have been using e-commerce website or whatever. I mean, you have been buying stuff from Amazon or buying stuff from Flipkart and many other different kind of websites or whatever you want. So if you see, once you are actually buying, there are different modules which make it connected. So it is not that you go and select and buy it. So once we understand about microservices, we should also understand what monolith was and why microservices actually came into picture. So as the name suggests, monolith. So it was one single application which was having all the business logic and each and everything embedded into one. So for example, tomorrow in your college project, if you are making any project for your school, so or for a college, so say it is college management system. So you try to make a college management system and you put all these different kind of modules into one particular system where the code is structured in such a way where that you have faculty management and student management and everything in one particular system, and you deploy the entire system together onto the cloud or wherever you or even on the premise. So in this case, once we are talking about e-commerce site, so once you are buying a stuff, so say you want to buy a mobile, you actually are a user. So it is a work of your user service to register you as a user. And then there could be a different kind of user. You are a customer. You are not actually an admin of that particular module, right? So there is a customer service involved into it. Once you are making a payment, there is a payment involved into it. Then there is a product search that you are doing, right? So there are a lot more product searches happening than people buying, correct? So make it a point, what I'm saying here, lot more searches happening on one particular product service, right? So once you actually go, it is not that everything you buy, but you do a lot more searches there. And there are very less chances that you will buy one of the particular stuff from there. Then you select it and then you add it into the cart, and then you do a payment. That's it, right? So and all of these microservices are connected to the database, and there is only one single instance of database that you have. So now what will happen? It is very good actually. It will work. There is no problem with it, right? So today you created this service, which you wanted to launch your own system where you have everything done, and you had a lesser number of users, right? So it worked quite fine. But as the time grows, right? So your users will be increasing. You are expecting that there will be a lot more users, right? So it was fine that once it started in January, you had very less users. It was working very good. But with the number of the increase in load, you will start seeing the system slows down and even starts crashing, because you will not be able to serve these many users because you had only one simple instance and one database. So what you did, you actually scaled the entire system. So now you actually brought a load balancer in between and you try to install two different services altogether. So there are two monolith applications connected to the single database, and everybody is trying to make, so you are fine now, right? But again, if the load increases or if something goes wrong, or say you introduced a new feature, say you want a recommendation service. So for example, once you are actually buying a stuff, right? So it says that these are the similar products that you can buy. So those are like recommendation services. So you introduced a recommendation service and there was a bug in it. So what will happen? The entire system will go down at once. So nothing is working and all of your system crashes at the same time. Either you fail or either you sail. It is always once, right? So your load balancer, though there is a load balancer and everything is there, but you actually crash the entire application altogether. So these are the problems which earlier, when I actually joined college, the monolith was ruling in the industry actually. With time, microservices started gaining up. So now what is microservices? So now I said that, okay, this is a very painful job, right? Whenever the service goes down, everybody is having sleepless night. And as a developer, there is no better place than production. And if something goes wrong in production, there is no worse nightmare than that a developer can have. So what we started, we said, okay, we get very less requests of, say we get moderate requests for user services, user joining it, but we get a lot of searches on the product. As I said, products will be searched more than user joining you, in your application or even making a payment and all other things. So what we decided, that user services and customer services, we are having a lot more interactions than other modules. So we split the entire system into a smaller system which can be deployed independently onto the cloud or wherever. But actually, whenever I say microservices, it is normally that you should be deploying it onto the cloud. And that is one of the basic things that we have. And whenever you actually want to take this approach, you should also ensure that you can spin up a system in just fraction of moment. Because if the product services where the search was happening, if say today you said that, okay, tomorrow there will be Diwali sale, and there are a lot more searches that start happening. It should not actually crash down any of this system. And from 2 to n, I mean, currently there are 2 product services in, working, but automatically it should scale to n number of product services. So today, I think you all are seeing, right? IPL is going on, and you might be watching it over Hotstar. So you can see 40 lakh, 50 lakh live views are happening. So it is very interesting problem for all the computer science students and as a whole. I mean, how do you scale to such level where even 100 lakhs users are watching simultaneously and the system is not crashing? It is not that Hotstar has achieved it in one day. It has took time for them. It takes time for everybody, but there are good computer science principles. If you follow, you can achieve it. So one of them is actually, I mean, it all starts with microservices at the beginning. And this has got huge potential in the market. And if you learn this, you can actually go in any place and you can say, okay, I know microservices. It will give you an edge at all. So right now you said, okay, I'll deploy these many different microservices. And then apart from this, because if you remember the last slide which I showed you, here there was only one single database. So once you are making a order, there was one database, and you can actually, it was very easy to maintain your transactions, right? So once you actually make a transaction, it goes into database as one single transaction. But once you actually create microservices, the first requirement with microservices is that who owns this data. The user service is responsible for user data, product is responsible for product data. So we normally actually choose different databases for different microservices. This also gives you an edge between relational and non-relational databases, because product and searches will happen faster if you are having non-relational databases like MongoDB or something like that. But you can actually, you might would be wanting to move towards a relational database in case of payments where there you want to make more constraints and all other things kind of thing. So it actually gives you a lot more different benefits than a traditional monolith. So now how the communication between these services will happen? Because they are all deployed as a separate instances, so communication between them actually happens over 2 different protocols widely, if I actually say. So one of them is HTTP. So for example, HTTP or whatever website that address that you are using, right? So those are HTTP protocols. So in that we use normally REST protocols with JSON or XML kind of instruction. I mean, you will just keep calling each of your microservices using HTTP, and another which is far more better and reliable mechanism is called messaging services using RabbitMQ and Kafka. So why I just mentioned it here, because if you learn Kafka or RabbitMQ, better you learn Kafka. Kafka is much in demand in these days. So how two systems can interact each other with Kafka is a very interesting topic that we can take some time other than this if whenever the time permits. But just to give you a small example, say for example, I mean, if you have subscribed to a newspaper, right? So you just say that I want Times of India. So every day morning you get Times of India. Whenever there is a new edition comes, you are ensured that you get one piece of it. Similarly, there are topics into the Kafka. If you are subscribed to it, so say if user service is inserting into that topic, all those listeners who want to listen from that Kafka topic, they will actually listen it. So it guarantees, and even if you see the Hotstar, what you mentioned right now, it has its own implementation of Kafka. Kafka is used in Twitter, Kafka is used all over the industry, and it is one of the very interesting technology to learn. But anyway, today's topic is microservice. Coming back to the topic. So now, as I said so if you have a new recommendation service coming up, you don't have to put any of this system down. You don't require any downtime. You are not worried that anything will go wrong. You just said, I just want one more service to be up, and you started, you created a new microservice, and you deployed it all together. So now, as I said, there are some advantages which we already covered if you see. So just going back and giving you a small technical terms for it. So once it says advantages, it says improves your fault tolerance, right? So there are less chances that you will fail and your system will go down. There are very less chances of a transaction going wrong there with microservices, because there are, if you learn microservices a little in deep, you will understand if we implement it correctly, it gives you better fault tolerance. So there are less chances that you will fail, and it is easy to scale. As I said, you either fail or either you scale. And it is easy to understand. Why I said it is easy to understand? So say if you had a team, right? So if I give 5% of you to work on user service and another 5 to work on customer service, you only have to take care of this particular part of your application. You are not actually worried how this one works. You only are worried if you have to interact to it. Your only concern is those topics where this one is actually publishing its results. Other than that, you don't care how user service is working. So you only focus on this system. But if you work with monoliths, you actually have to know that your code might be introducing bug here. So you have to be a little more careful with monoliths. So it is easy to understand. And there is no vendor technology lock-in. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Python fans sitting out here. There are many people who are working with Java. There will be many people who only know C or C++, and they vouch for it. But then microservices gives you an advantage that it doesn't give you any vendor lock-in. So what will happen? You want to know how to communicate with another service, right? So you can create a cart service in Python and you can write a product service in Java, and it depends actually, right? And you can create a payment service in Java, and you can actually use your front ends with any Node.js or whatever you want. All it is important how to listen to these topics and how you send it back. So these are the advantages of microservices. So there is no vendor technology login. And as I again said it is easy to add a newer modules or newer features to microservices. But this is not a silver bullet, right? So once you actually go to microservices, there are a lot of complexity which gets increased. So you should not choose microservices just because it is very fancy and the entire industry is moving. So there are a lot of drawbacks. So once we decide as a technocrat that when we will be using microservices, there are few points that we should consider. So distributed systems are actually complex than the normal systems. I think everyone will agree on to this, right? So because once I say distributed, it means there are a lot of different applications talking together. So you have to maintain and understand who is publishing, who is talking to whom, and what is their structure. So this is a little complex system, though it guarantees you that you will scale like anything, but you need to take care of those complexity which it comes to it. So as I said, there are multiple database, right? So it also will create a problem for transactional consistency. So if any student, I think from after second year would have been reading the databases, right? So we read atomic properties and all those databases things there. So with different database, you don't know that you just once a order came, right? So all you did is your one service took the order and it sent it to the another service, and it doesn't know that actually the payment has been done or not. It is work of payment service to listen or you don't not listen. So if you are actually buying onto these Amazons, you will see that once you make payments, it is not that immediately it gives you a response back that payment has been successful. There will be notifications which will keep appearing at the bottom of your screen that, okay, this payment has been successful. So because there is another service which is telling that, okay, this payment is successful. Now there is one more service which is telling it back that through a notification that this payment was successful. So the one who is listening to it is showing you that, okay, this payment is successful and now your order is it with this particular state. So it is little difficult in those terms, and it is tough to test. And because there are so many components, so if you have to test end to end, it is a little tough to test. It could be tough to deploy also because there are so many services. So you might lose track if you don't follow proper orders. So it is, it is always said that once, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So you need to be following some standards, otherwise you will be in a mess. So once I say that you have to, when you should take microservices approach, when you know that there will be a lot of load on your system. So say that you are pretty sure that there will be, say, 10,000 requests per day, right? Or plus over than that, or even say 10,000 requests per second microservice can handle. Actually, that is not a problem for microservices. But you know that there is a lot of load, then you should actually start thinking about microservices. But if you're just writing a blog, creating a blog for yourself, you don't need to think about microservices. Just create one instance. Hardly there will be 10 to 20 interactions in the beginning, right? So any monolith can be broken into microservices also. So it is easy for you. If you just plan better, you can actually create a better system. Okay, so as I said you, these are the all, I mean, uh, if I just show you few components of microservices, this will be my last slide on microservices. Then we will actually talk about something, how you can actually learn this and how you can, I mean, apart from this, what you can do to be more employable in this current industry. So as I said you, each microservices that we do currently, you will have to have your own containers. So normally, when I say containers, container is a deployment unit. So you deploy one thing, that's all. So this is one and currently this slide talks you microservices in terms of Java, but mostly I am only talking you in terms of concept. So I'll just tell you what is the concept that these terms are using. You need not to remember the technological name if you want to create microservices with any other technology. You can actually use any technology to create microservice. So basically, once you create a deployable unit, you need to actually call to different. I mean, how will you talk, right? So if there is, I mean, say once the instances increases, so there is one task service here and one user service. Say there are 5 or 10 different task service. There will be a load balancing which will be required, right? So you don't want to hit the IPs of one particular system every time. So what will happen that you will actually create a fan and ribbon. These will help you to create load balancer. So if you write http:/user service, it will automatically find which is the user service and it will hit the any of the user service which is available. So that is one thing, right? And then each of your microservices should have your own database. Nothing, I mean, none of your microservices should be actually responsible for others' database. So user service is responsible for its own database, task should be responsible for its own database. Then once your number of instances increases, say you have made 1,000 deployments of product service where search is installed. Say you are actually very big and you are as big as Amazon, right? And there is a configuration that needs to change. So will you go and stop all those 1,000 instances and start again for the configuration? Will that be possible for you? With monolith, you would have to do, right? So there is a configuration server where all these configurations are kept. So whenever this services starts, what they do, they actually connect to configuration servers and ask, give me my configuration. And then they start. And whenever there is a change in configuration, you can publish back to these particular microservices. There is a mechanism with which you just say that this configuration has changed and they will start listening to it. So say I'm giving you a very naive example. So say right now there is a 5% discount overall on all of your product. But you said, okay, now I want to increase that discount to 10%, and this was written into your configuration server. So what will you do? You just go to config server and change it, and then all of it actually starts getting the configurations back. Now, since there are a lot more services, right? So every time a service comes up, it is auto scalable. So say 30 million user, 40 million user that you are seeing that Hotstar is showing you, there will be a service discovery also. That new instance is available and it is ready to be used. So whenever these services starts, they go and tell to another component of microservice, which is called service discovery. Hey, I'm available. You can use me. So whenever the new request will come, it will actually see that what are the available instances and it will start forwarding the load from there. So, so if you see how you will be interacting, I'll just show you. So for example, if you are seeing any match or anything from your mobile, you will just hit the gateway and the gateway knows which is the new instance and then it connects you to that particular instance and you actually see a match or whatever you want to do. Or even for a shopping, whatever the application does. So as the number of the application increases, they go and tell to the Eureka that I am available. You can use me for load balancing and those applications you can actually view. One of the another component which is very interesting, if you have a monolith, I mean, logs are very important. So if whenever something goes wrong, how will you find? You need to write logs. So all those logs you will only see. I mean, basically once you write, you're writing your program. So very bad example of logging, but I'm just giving you. You are just writing system.out.println or something that which is printing onto your console telling that this has gone wrong, this is what is happening. So those logs we check actually whenever the system what is happening behind this reason. So the time actually it comes, logs are very important, but with 1000 different instances coming up, you don't know which particular instance has failed your particular request. So, I mean, you will not be logging onto all those 1000 instances which just came up using a container like Docker or anything. So what you need to know, I mean, how will you manage your logs? So for each log, there is, whenever a request actually hits to the API gateway, there is a detective which is added. Detective, you see sleuth written here, right? So sleuth in English actually means detective. So that detective is nothing but there is a small ID which is stamped over that request. So wherever that request goes, so it has traveled from user service to task service and or to the payment service, that particular ID will be stamped to all of these services, and you can actually view a combined log into another system where these logs are published automatically. Okay, so this is all about microservice. I hope I could have made you understand a little how this complex distributed systems are showing you these many, how it is working. So if there is any question, I will actually take a pause and I would like to understand that.
Yes, students are requested if they have any queries, they can just use the chat box to either give your questions, or you can just simply unmute yourself and have the questions, I think. Before we get any questions, Pallav, I was having some queries. Like currently, we are having IoT in the 7th semester. Students are actually having this paper, and some of the concepts that you talked about in microservices are somehow related in IoT as well. Also, like the configuration manager as such, auto configuration, etc. All those things you talked about. So somehow there's a connectivity between the topics as such. So there's no stagnation of technology being associated with one topic or something like that.
These are also distributed systems, right? So once you actually talk about distributed systems, few of these components will be similar, right? So because even in IoT, if the newer things will come, how will they know that where there should be a service discovery and all those things will come, right? So overall, in distributed systems, when we talk about distributed systems, there are few concepts that which will come every time.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a question I couldn't see yet, but I'm just
You can use the chat box.
don't know how to write it. I'm really sorry.
Virender is having a question. Okay, Virender, you can just unmute if you want. You can just.
Yeah. Oh, there is a chat box, right? Yeah. Okay, so there was a question, what is load balancing, right? This is from Anurag Kumar Anurag. Hi Anurag, load balancing is a very interesting concept and thanks for asking. So what happens with load balancing? As the load increases, right? So, I mean, you don't know that how many instances, say right now you have created one particular module, you deployed it, you will have one IP, correct? So that IP address is associated to that particular instance. Now, when the load came, you actually deployed one more system of the same service. So now there are two services which can do same kind of work. But if you actually follow the IP route, you will always be going to the same server and your servers will be clogged by so many requests. So there is load balancer is actually a technique or a software, I should say, which is installed, I mean, before any request goes, right? So that load balancer job is just to understand that which service is free, it will just forward your route to that one. So there are different load balancing techniques. One of the One of the very interesting aspect of that load balancing is that, I mean, one of the algorithm I should say is round robin. So it will send to A, B, C, D, E, different microservices, right? So there are 5. So first one will go to A, next one will go to B, third will go to C. And that way load balancing keeps routing your requests. The another one actually is also, there is one more concept of load balancing where, I mean, rather than sending a request from, I mean, the first one which I said you, the load balancer doesn't know who the actual client was. So it only takes your, I mean, so if Anurag is making that request, it doesn't know. It will send it to any of it. Other concept of it, that load balancer will know that there are some cookies attached to those requests, and load balancer will know that this request has came from Anurag. So I will actually transfer it to this particular instance. So there is a sticky session attached to it. So whenever you are sending, so it will actually keep sending to that particular server only. So if there are 5 different requests come, so if your request will be going to there, and then Birinder is sending another one, then it will go to another particular one. So that's what load balancing does. And yes, load balancing can be a single point of failure also. What if your load balancer dies, right? So normally for load balancing also, there is a primary and secondary slave concept. So every time there will be multiple load balancers. So if this one dies, automatically there will be somebody who can take care of the load for you.
Yeah, Pallav, I can just have a query on that secondary and primary thing you're talking about. Then synchronization becomes an issue, I guess, in that case also.
Yeah, so it could be, but then if you see with the current, I mean, there are so many different systems and softwares which is attached to it. So what it does, there is always one server which is on. It is not that it is down actually. So whenever I mean, some of the load. So say there are 2 load balancer in itself also, right? So whenever this load balancer dies, all the load will automatically will go to onto that server. Otherwise, there is sometimes there is a concept like 80-20. What they will say, they will send 80% load on this one of your server and 20 on the secondary one. So even if the first one dies, automatically second one will be there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is one more question, which was how performance testing is performed in these microservices. It is easier than monolith if you see. So performance testing, you have to do a performance only onto the component where you are actually deploying. So say it is very vital for you that your search services are highly available, and actually it is always there for you available, right? And there will be a lot more requests to it. So you only have to do performance testing to one particular component rather than doing many performance testing. So one, I mean, if that is what you are asking, Virender, otherwise you can unmute and say.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is one more question again from Anurag. Pretty interesting. Don't they use port forwarding to contact back to the user? So port forwarding, I mean, see, there are many different concepts, right? To contact back to user, will you be a little more clear? What do you want to say? Okay, contact back to the user. Okay, so he's asking that, I mean, they use cookies or whatever. So yes, there is cookies are attached to it. Cookies are normally kept for sessions, right? So whenever you want to have your sessions and all those things, I mean, attached to it, say normally they will say that this certain user who is logged in should be logged in only for 30 minutes. So say that is a cookie only which is valid for 30 minutes. That is what happens to your banking website once you're logging in. But if you have logged into your Facebook, again, you log in after 2 days, it keeps your sessions and all those things, I mean, already intact with you, right? So those cookies, actually, they don't expire it for that many period. So that way you are still logged in onto the system. So contact back to the user, there are many different actually ways. So there is there is one of the very famous thing which is coming. I'll come back to that because I just forgot that particular terminology. But I mean, it is just that one port is open, right? So once you are actually there are long polling requests, And there is one more newer technology which is there, which asynchronously will know that once you log in, these are the separate push messages which is to you. Say for example, right now your mobile is there, right? You keep getting push notifications, correct? So all those push notifications, how you are getting? So your system, whenever you are opening your app from server, it is only being sent to you. So it knows that how to actually contact you back because of there are so many different ways. Port forwarding could be one of it. What is turbo shooting? I am not aware of this turbo shooting. If it is troubleshooting, I don't know. I mean, Aditya, could you be a little more specific? What do you want to ask?
Aditya, are you there? If you can just clarify.
You can deploy pods on locally on any server for practice. Yes, actually you can actually do. So I will share my screen once more time. I have given this. Okay, so you can deploy, I mean, easily multiple applications on any of your system. So even for development purpose, we keep doing it, right? Okay, so you can actually deploy any of your applications onto your local system. And if you want to start just with microservices with Java, I don't want to get into a lot of technical things as Smriti sir already said me. So I'll just show you. You can actually forward start.spring.io. This is second best place on internet as said by Josh Long. I'm not saying it. Okay. So you can just create a smaller microservices with a Spring initializer. All you need to do is that what are those dependencies you want? You actually can go and explore it. You can add dependencies. Once we say dependencies, for example, you wanted cloud, right? So, or you want to talk to another one only via web. So you say, okay, I want HTTP module. Then you want to say that, okay, I want a Kafka communication, right? So you say, okay, I want to have Kafka communication. All you do is just generate. It will generate you a project just in few minutes, which you can start running onto your local. So one good thing with all of you being here is that I believe that Synergy is anyway connected to one single network, right? So you will if you are connected to that network, you can actually ping IPs of your systems, friend systems, right? So you can start creating one of the module on your system, run another one onto your friend system, and see how this communication actually works. It will be really fun actually. You can and if you are really interested, I am just pinging it this one a link, and then I'll send back the free coupons for it. This is my course. I don't want to advertise it, but I just am showing because this is I created. I think last time also I gave some coupons, right, sir, for this course. This is all about microservices using Spring. This is just the starting of it. So if you have a little understanding of Java, you can actually use this. This is one of the course that I have. And I also I write my technical journey, whatever I learn actually onto pallav.dev. So you can go and read. There are a lot more contents there. Okay, so oh wow, this is interesting. There is Minikube. Somebody is asking. I mean, somebody is already into microservices. Cool. So is there any way to deploy pods locally on any server for practice? Yes, you can do it. Minikube, as you said already, Minikube is an awesome way. You can actually just spin up any session onto your Minikube. You can actually it will create a Kubernetes cluster. So what I said you currently was only broader topics of microservices. So Minikube is a very interesting thing. Okay, so he's telling I'm doing it right now. Good, good. So Minikube is a very interesting concept. So it actually comes from Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is one of the most leading way of deploying cloud services, right? So all it does that I mean it is actually an orchestration tool, right? So with Minikube, you can deploy your microservices or smaller instances onto your local, and it works same, right? Because as I said, microservices ensures there is no vendor technology lock-in. So same is with Minikubes. If somehow if you are able to deploy anything onto Minikube, obviously on any Kubernetes cluster you will be able to do it, because Minikube is nothing but a small Kubernetes cluster for you. Okay, so those are I use lens for, okay, good. You can use, there could be many different things that you can use for orchestration. I mean, it just depends on you, right? I mean, if you see CF, there is one cloud conference. I mean, there are a lot more. There is one community for this, which actually says that these are the best tools for cloud. You can use any of it. Okay, so that is fine. So this is CS 2015 Kumar Anurag. Good. You're doing good, I believe. Yeah, correct. C and CF. You are correct, actually, Anurag. So you can actually see that. So my one was CS 0539. I don't know. I'm just telling because when I'm seeing back the roll numbers that I'm
Yeah,
collecting.
Pallav, we have ensured that people put their roll numbers for
Okay.
like get to know
Oh,
that
that's
they
great.
are there actually.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Actually, CS 05039 is me. Okay. Okay, so I'll just show you as okay, how does the query works. Is it query? Query means which query actually?
I think Pallav, we are moving out of dimensions like.
Okay. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'll actually not talk about microservice now. What I'll talk, how you will be more employable if you follow
Yeah.
few smaller tips. Will that be fine, sir?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll share my screen once more time. I'm pretty sure many of you might be doing it, but why I'm actually focusing it, because this way you can understand what industry actually wants you in a technical interview. So whenever we are giving a technical interview, one of the most important aspect of it, that how good you are with this coding, right? So if you are actually into CS or any of your branch really, right? So if you are actually trying for a job into an IT company or anywhere, there are high chances that you will be asked some questions related to data structure and algorithms, right? So you should be practicing data structure and algorithm daily. There is no exception into it. As a student, I would say that you should actually practice it daily. I have one of my tweet actually, which I just took it. This was day 328, 100 days of code, which is just a challenge that I took. So I think Avinash sir is well aware of it. I had been tweeting like this, like for continuous 365 days, where I was trying to practice data structure and algorithm, even when I was around 10 or 11 years of experience, right? So this is something which you should practice every day. And all of these days, if you keep practicing, you will get better into data structure and algorithm. And with time, you can crack any DSLGO interviews, and where these DSLGO algorithms are actually asked. So if you name any of the good companies like Google, Microsoft, or if you want to name any of it, right? So Google is one of it, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and any of it. The sky is the limit if you see, right? So if you go and if you try to find how you can actually go and improve your 100 days of, I mean, it is just a challenge which I'm giving to all of you, right? So start with 100 days of code. Every day you start learning one thing. I would prefer that if you started with data structure and algorithm, which is a very wide and broad topic. So I'm on Twitter. I did it once for 365 days. I believe that I'll start again because I like it doing it. So this is just kind of challenge. So you all can take, and how to practice it. So data structure and algorithm, you have got good faculties out there. They will help you out always. But this particular topic is not only about passing the interviews. You should be very good in it. So how you can actually improve on your sessions, right? So I have solved around 523 questions on lead code, right? I believe you must be having a lot more time than I have. So you can, though you have a lot more subjects, but I am pretty sure when I was in college, if I would have done it, I would have actually improved my coding skills a lot better because I had good faculties there to actually to support me, right? So now once it comes to data structure algorithm, start with data structures. Okay. So if you go to data structures, you will have some topics like start with string, array, then or stack and queues, and then start progressing slowly. Okay. So in that way, one of the website which I love is LeetCode. You can actually follow different websites are there. You can follow any of them. But once it comes to getting an interview call and passing it, rather than not only doing competitive programming. Lead code, I believe that this has got a lot better ways to actually read, right? And here there are 2 weeks study plans to track your DS. There is also 14 days plan for any algorithms. You can actually take longer time, and I would say start with data structure topics. So if you just go here, you can actually filter the topics also. So so here, if you go in tags, you can say that, okay, today I am practicing one certain topic, which will be only about hash table, or I will only learn about trees today, right? So just say trees, it will give you trees question. Then what you should do, once you start, you just start with difficulty level easy. Okay, and start doing easy questions first, and then proceeds after 10 or 20 easy questions, then go to the different then take the medium questions and then proceed. You have time, you actually have time. It takes only 3 months of at least 2 hours a day to make you a lot better presentable candidate in front of any interviewer. So all you go and just try to, okay, so I want to do a binary tree in order traversal. You don't require any computer. Even if you I'll not even you can do it on mobile, but if you have a computer, I'm not telling that you should have high-end computer just to become better in data structure algorithm. So once you actually write the code and submit it, it will tell you few factors. It will tell you that your solution is accepted or not, and if it is accepted, where your solution lies in term of the world. So if are there better solution than this, or where you are actually, if you say I was here, I would have seen what is this solution. You can go and actually understand, okay, this guy has written solve this question like this. This could have been a better approach of doing this. This way, you will learn a lot about data structure and algorithm with time actually. So it will give you a lot more confidence. Another thing which you can learn apart from this is called system design. Okay, system design is just designing a system, but you should, I would say that at this point, once you are fresher, that not many people will be accepting you that you become a lot better in system design. But yes, you can actually go and have basics of system design just to understand what is, as I said, you right, that there is a load balancer, there is a Eureka server, how you will be designing. So the question, for a simple question I'll give you, if I give you to just tell me how will you implement Twitter in 45 minutes. If I give you 45 minutes, will you be able to tell me your thought process? What are those system components which will be used for designing that Twitter? So that will also, that is one another fact, right? So if you see 80% plus companies which are doing it, good companies, right? You name any big companies from FANG, when I say Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix, and Microsoft, or even Adobe, or any good company, right? So aim high. Once you aim high, you will actually will get better things, right? So if you start just posting that, okay, so I am currently doing this, and I'm actually solving these many lead code questions. There is something called Code Chef, right? If I just say Code Chef. Okay, so there is a competitive programming. So I have seen resumes these days of freshers coming, which say that I am at this certain level of Code Chef. And there are regular challenges, be it Code Chef or be it Lead Code. Lead Code actually hosts regular challenges. If you see, if I go back to Lead Code, so every lead code, to me, it is more organized. It depends on you. So it is writing, right? So weekly, bi-weekly contest will start in 7 days, in 19 hours. That is tomorrow, because every Sunday there is a weekly contest here. So you can go and you can try, just register here and start seeing. There will be 4 questions per contest, and see who is organizing these contests. So if you see, there are many times these contests are actually started from bigger companies. From Amazon is giving a contest, or somebody else is giving a contest. So there are chances. It is very hard to win, but because rank 1 here, there are a lot of good competitive programmers. So don't aim for these goodies, but aim for being better in it, right? So at least if you are able to solve 2, or I should say you should aim for 3 questions of lead code in any contest. If you are able to solve 3, nobody can stop you. So this is one thing which I always wanted to share with you all. So what I would suggest, that prepare, at least create a small group of students or a community within yourself. Okay, so the time you actually have a smaller group of or a chapter within for DS Algo and start practicing it together. So once you actually start sitting together and practice it, you will be doing wonders. This is one thing which I wanted to actually tell you. So how you manage your semester studies and your upskilling together. So I'll tell you, Anurag, I had one friend called Abhishek. He was actually a chapter CSE. There is one event that happens at CSE. Anaragya.
Another, yeah, society
Yeah.
function.
Yeah, society function. So he was actually there. His name is Abhishek. So how I started coding, I was not very good at coding in beginning. So till second year, I was just doing reading CSE. So once I mean, I'm just telling it. Avinash sir will be there. He can validate it actually. So we started. He actually said that he sent me a mail from my own email address. So then I started feeling that how can I have not sent this email? How I got this email from my own email address? So he was actually trying to study he wanted to learn more about computer science and then me and so once I revealed that it is him, then I also started getting into started learning not only coding and programming but also ethical hacking courses that we started doing. So somehow, if you remember, there is a I am confessing it, sir. Okay, so I'm just telling you. So there is in our lab there were so many systems, right? So we had a few Trojans there, and we used to see that who is sitting on the other system, and we used to play with them. So this was actually fun activity for us on those days. I was seeing that computer, suddenly, for example, I will take out the CD disk and floppy disk, and some random messages will pop on that guy's screen. So we were doing it for fun at that time, but that actually made me start love. That gave me actually a kick how to actually learn coding and what are those implications which actually it can have. So with time I started learning it, and I'll give you one more very good saying. You are as your 5 good friends are. Okay, so you are as good as them. So choose your friends and community a little, be selective in it, be with a focused group, then you will automatically, they will challenge you, right? So once I started sitting and talking to Abhishek, and I am again taking his name because I have no shame in telling him that from there only I started getting into this particular coding and all those. I started loving CS then. So once you start loving your subject, you will not have to find a specific time for it. You will automatically keep thinking about it. That is one thing. And then you just find out, just book a slot that okay, so for every day 2 hours I am giving it to it, and this 2 hours I don't want any disturbance. You keep reading it, and automatically you will improve. You will not be upskilling, or you will not be doing better just in one day or even a week. It takes at least 3 or 4 months of dedicated effort to improve yourself in one particular topic.
Pallav, if I'm not mistaken, you are talking about Abhishek Sinha, if I'm not
I'm
mistaken.
talking about Abhishek Sinha.
Yeah. He actually joined this time around in alumni meet, and I guess he's still working in C. Actually, that is what I told my students also. That here is a guy who passed out in 2009 and is still working in C and Ministry of Defense. He was doing some work.
C++. Sir, he's working in C++ currently.
But
No,
his
he works
basic,
in C++, sir, but he
basic
started
was
with C only. And
yeah.
C is actually for device driving, C is king, right? So if you want to go low level programming, if you want to actually code, so deep, on that low level coding, if you want to do, there is nothing better than C. Even Java compiles at the end at last at C, right? So it is one thing.
This is what actually was very instrumental. What he mentioned was that there is nothing like people don't work in C, because once you are good in C, then I think you can take up any other programming languages with ease actually.
Yeah. So you should actually focus on 2 or 3 good subjects. Learn one programming language of your choice. I'm not telling that you should learn any one particular, but I love Java. I do code in Java, but you can actually pick Python. You can pick C. You can pick one programming language and start solving DS algorithm like crazy guy. You keep solving it. Make a small chapter or groups in your college. At least if you cannot do that, at least have 5 people who are dedicated to learn CS and data structure and algorithms. If you start doing it, you will actually reach, I mean, you cannot imagine what you can get. Okay, so if you see the highest packages in this industries are offered from these companies, and there you can only get it until you cannot get it until you are good in data structure or algorithms. Okay, so if you're just thinking high, you should actually aim for a higher. How to improve yourself? This is just about that.
So that is what I will request the students present in this particular talk would take up from what you have said, and maybe Avinash sir and me could sit together and actually form one such a chapter as you are mentioning, and maybe take forward.
Yes, sir. And you know, it is not, nothing sells until you shows it. So if you are working on data structure and algorithm, I mean, you guys are from the age where social media has grown like anything, right? So start sharing those. Okay, I learned this. You share it onto um, LinkedIn or onto Twitter. People are noticing it. You might not know that people are noticing it because there are so many people, right? So as you grow, you keep learning, you keep talking, you keep telling people that I have learned it. It is not about showing that I have done it. It is just to let the world know that I am here and I deserve it.
Exactly, exactly.
And none of us are as smart as all of us. So try to take help from everyone and be better.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, has anybody any other queries, etc.? Anurag, you had some queries. If you still have some queries, then you can just unmute and have your question. Birender, if you're there, I'll just add Kumar Pallav that Birender is also alumni, and what interesting is that he joins every alumni talk and he actually interacts with every alumni. So I'm very thankful to Virender that in spite of being alumni, he's coming back and actually sharing and interacting with you people.
Yeah, cool. So what I'll do, any one of you can just send me a LinkedIn request. I would gladly accept it. If you want, just mention, I mean, that you are from SIET. At least if you, even if it is in your profile, I'll accept it. And I'm there actually. Okay, so you want my ID? I'll ping it. Actually, in group, I can ping, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can.
This is me. You can actually, and then it is good if you are on Twitter. I had been recently. I have not been that active on Twitter, but whatever I learn, I actually share on Twitter. So I am using Twitter a lot more for my personal reason than actually just taking it as a news. So I like Twitter somehow. So even if you see, even my profile says that I whatever I do actually.
Is it
That's it.
is it that you have started using it after the Elon Musk episode or something like that?
No, sir. I have been using Twitter for a long time. Though recently I had not been that active because from the time I have joined Morgan Stanley, I had been under a little pressure of work. So there is a lot of work here.
That's
So
on a lighter note. That's not a lighter note. I was just querying.
Pallav,
yeah.
Pallav, I am your follower in Twitter.
Yeah, I know, sir. I also follow you. And whenever
Okay.
there is something
And,
happens in Dhenkanal, I actually see that you are posting about it. I've been constantly watching it.
Another is there is a question from Virender. What
Yeah.
is career perspective for QA engineer?
There are a
So
lot
if
of career
possible,
perspective actually. If you see, if you want to be into QA, there's a very good technologies like Cucumber testing but you should focus on automation if you want to be a QA engineer. Quality is a very important aspect of any software. So I mean, writing software is easy, right? But if you're writing a good software which passes all quality, it actually will help you. So if you want okay, so I'm doing means Cucumber you are or automation. Right? So there's a lot of automation things that tools are something that you should learn. I mean, I'm not expert with as a QA guy, but okay, Selenium. Selenium is a very great tool. It gives you a lot more. Whenever you are doing any automation testing with Selenium, it is very. I have used Selenium. I have written some codes with Selenium even. But mostly my work is not directly with QA, so I don't write much into QA. But I see there is a lot of scope for QA. But if you are sticking only to the manual testing, I would say that better improve in that. But as you said, you are already doing automation. It is great actually.
So I think we have done with all the queries, I guess,
Yeah.
Kumar, Pallav. So
Yeah.
now I'd request Professor Ipsita Panda to actually give the vote of thanks. Ipsita, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote on occasion of alumni talk on cloud and microservices by speaker Mr. Kumar Pallav, organized by Synergy Alumni Association and Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SIT Dhenkanal. First of all, on behalf of the department, I thank Mr. Binod Das, sir, Chairman, Synergy Group of Institution for his support and encouragement. I thank Dr. Itisri Mohanty Madam, our principal, for her support and guidance. I thank Professor A. Sabinasa, our beloved HOD CSE, for his guidance and motivation. Next, I would love to give a really heartfelt vote of thanks to the speaker, our alumni, as well as my junior, Mr. Kumar Pallav, for making an excellent presentation and for making this webinar really interesting. And again, thanks for sharing your own experience with the Synergy. I'd also thank all faculty and staff members, students, and all the participants for attending the webinar and contributed their valuable time. I should not forget to thank the coordinator for the webinar, Professor Smruti Ranjan Dasa, who has organized this webinar so delightfully. Thank you, everyone, once again for making the webinar a great success. Thank you.
Can I speak few lines?
Go ahead, madam. Go ahead, madam.
Few lines. Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, Pallav. Actually, your video was on.
Yeah.
So I just communicate. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Once I saw you, it all entire physics lecture started coming back to me.
See, when I listened to your voice, it was
Yeah.
not like a student right now. It's just like a very professional figure. Okay, a professional voice. I'm so happy by seeing my student at this level, where he is guiding other students.
That also
He's
came
adding
from
other
Synergy only. I did 3 times. I mean, I have constantly been when I was in Synergy. I was anchoring at Synfest, so I
It's
learned
really
it.
great. There is a maturity. There is a level of understanding. There's a level of depth. I'm so happy being your teacher. Thank you so much for guiding the students as well as the teachers also. Okay. Thank you very
I'm
much.
so
God
proud of.
bless you.
I'm so proud of being a Synergian. Actually, thanks, ma'am.
God bless you.
Thanks,
Bye
ma'am.
bye.
So that's it. Like Pallav will be winding up the today's program, and maybe in future we would actually again come back and have some more interesting topics as and when you are available again, and
Sure, sir.
hope to get your responses at every opportunity.
Sure,
So
sir. Thank you.
thanks all of you. Bye bye.
Bye.